A, have you noticed a change in KIMI since he won the first Grand Prix? And B, is there a confidence about him? Seems a bit of a confidence about him this week.
Yeah, I think when you hear his radio communications also in the intercom in the garage, it's just calm. Not putting himself too much under pressure, putting that one lap in, that was very good. Bono told him put a banker in, and then he pushed it a little bit hard on the last one, and it wasn't so good. But yeah, it's really pleasing to see.
Okay, can you tell us what's going on with George?
Yeah, I think we did probably a setup twerk on the other side. Something we expected to have less impact than it had, and it put the car in the nose, so too much oversteer, and that made it very difficult for him.
Okay, is that something is that to protect any sort of sets of tyres for the race, or is that something you can change for tomorrow?
No, it's probably the opposite. I think he needs to carry this into the race now, which is certainly a disadvantage, but these things happen.
I've never thought of George as the one who likes twerks or twerking. So he'll have to get over that, I think. But,
I hope I used the right word. I mean, we did a mistake. Is that twerking?
I think it was I mean, twerking is never a mistake. Maybe he did a tweak to the car that was bad, and I think a twerk might be something else. Anyway, we'll leave.
Maybe it was just a change that went wrong.
Anyway, a good day for Mercedes. Thank you very much, Toto.
Yeah, great day for Mercedes. Their first front row lockout here at Suzuka since 2018. So no wonder Toto is smiling. He might be somewhat surprised, but it was that way round though. Kimi Antonelli putting it on pole again.
I might have been a surprise a month ago, but I think we've seen through the free practice sessions he's had the upper hand. He was quicker than George yesterday. He was quicker than George in FP3, and all through that session, it just looked like George was struggling to have a good feeling with the rear of the car. He just couldn't have the confidence to lean on the rear of the car. He's complaining a lot about whether there was an aero issue or some sort of a problem. But in the end, you know, we saw the last run. His first sector was strong, but he just didn't seem to have that final confidence to lean on it that extra little bit.
And as we've talked many times before, Bernie, it is all about confidence here at Suzuka, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all about confidence here, but I think Kimi Antonelli's had the upper hand maybe the whole way through this weekend. Through each practice session, he seems to be a little bit ahead of George. Now, I think through the qualifying, I think there was something with George's car that obviously they've corrected for the last run in Q3, but because he was struggling significantly, like much more than I would expect George to, and through that last Q3 runs he was much closer, but just not enough to get Kimi. And we are seeing a very confident Kimi Antonelli, and he's got to feel confident going in tomorrow. Just get a start right.
So do you put that down to the fact that he has got that maiden win under his belt?
I don't know. It's hard to tell. You know, only he can maybe answer that. But raw speed hasn't been a problem for him, has it? It's been consistency. It's been about delivering consistent speed and race performances. And maybe it's just another year, maybe a bit more maturity. You know, a year of F1 is a long time in the real world. You know, so I'm sure he's grown a lot. And you know, this is a track which is about confidence. And if George didn't have on a qualifying lap, think of it. I'm going to hold it in my hands there. Think of it. That's the edge of the cliff, and you're constantly trying to balance on that edge. The more confident you are of leaning over the edge and not falling off it, the quicker you'll go. And George is sort of one step away from the edge, I feel, in that session, whereas Kimi was just willing to hang out with that.
Beautiful
Does that make
metaphor.
We need to get you a little cliff to
I need a
show.
little cliff.
Yeah. No, don't be taking it. You're risk averse, remember? And what about Oscar Piastri? I mean, he mentioned there in his post-quali interview that actually it hasn't been about quali for him so far this season. It's about racing, or lack thereof. And what can he do tomorrow? Is he just being a bit cautious about it?
Yeah, well, I think the last few events haven't been entirely his fault. You know, maybe Melbourne a bit more, Shanghai definitely not. So he's just going to hope that that car can all go together well. He's had a, don't want to say it, a reliability good weekend so far. So he's hoping
you've done it now.
He's hoping that continues.
Everyone's cursing you at McLaren right now.
He's hoping that continues. You know, the problems have been much more on Lando Norris' side. So all he can do is his normal race preparation, get into what his car setup's going to be in terms of the front wing angles, get into what the strategy is going to look like, just do his normal prep in terms of all of those things that we do in a normal Saturday night.
I mean, one thing I just thought of when you were speaking there was he's not done a formation lap yet for the I know he did the sprint, But, you know, we've seen in the first couple of, even the procedures that these drivers now have to do on the formation lap is different. So yeah, it's, you know, I hope he gets a clean run and can at least get to the end of the Grand Prix. And you know, he's in a good place to get a podium.
Hello.
I turned
you
around
are.
and you'd gone, but not that
And we're just here. We're just here. Jensen, what were your thoughts on Ferrari today? Did you expect more? They did seem to fade through Q3.
I think it just didn't get the lap together. It looked a little bit tricky to drive, as Karun just pointed out with Charles at the hairpin, the rear of the car breaking away, and then you can't get into the apex and you're just waiting the whole time. And then he had the big snap on the exit of Spoon. So yeah, there was definitely more there. But it looked not an easy car to drive. It was very different to watching Kimi out there.
Very diplomatically put, because he cursed a little bit on the team radio. Lewis Hamilton, though, interestingly, in contrast to the previous couple of weekends, he's been struggling with the car all weekend. Did you expect more from him today than P6?
Not necessarily more than P6, I would say. He has been struggling a lot of the weekend. I think that he actually had a better qualifying than what earlier in the weekend showed, just behind his teammate there in that P6 position, like you say. We heard, like you say, Charles Leclerc complain. When you look at the compare between the Ferrari and that Mercedes, for example, a lot of the lap time loss is in straight line, which indicates to me that it is engine deployment or how the battery is managing the energy around the lap. So maybe that matches what, you know, Fred Vasseur has been saying, that Ferrari power unit is behind the Mercedes. So I think that's a bit of their frustration there. It's not necessarily the car. You know, Jensen and Karun have gone through the struggles that they've had with the chassis in certain corners, but also then they're losing on the straights relative to the Mercedes, which is power unit.
Do you not think some of it is, though, because they're losing on the exit?
Yes.
Yeah.
So some of it will be, but even still, even if they have a similar exit speed, you still see the traces diverge down the straight, so they still lose down the straight, which I guess could be more downforce, but it doesn't look like that in the corners.
Yeah, it was interesting. I asked someone at Mercedes about that, because Charles was quickest in Sector 1. Their theory is that the Ferrari's is just carrying more downforce and more drag, but the truth probably lies somewhere in between, doesn't it? We don't ever fully know. But what I'm interested to see is where that form goes between the two of them, because we saw last year in Melbourne and China, Lewis was as quick, if not a little bit quicker. Charles in China was quite downbeat, saying, I'm not very good at this track. He's come here and he's taken a step. Is this a repeat of last year, or is Lewis able to bring it back and match him? That's what I'm interested to see when we go to Miami and beyond.
Did you expect more from Lando Norris today?
No, he's had a tough weekend, hasn't he? He's hardly done any mileage in the practice sessions. He's been a bit behind all through, and honestly, I think he is sort of where I expect him to be.
Okay, well, let's hear from him now. He's in the pen with Rachel.
Hi Lando, you've had a lot of time in the garage this weekend. Did that affect your rhythm for qualifying, or do you think you still got the most out of those laps today?
It's a very difficult question to answer. I mean, it certainly impacted our ability to test things, try things, get comfortable with the car early on. Also do high fuel running and prepare for tomorrow. Like, I've done no high fuel running, so it's certainly just been difficult and tricky, and I've been playing a lot of catch up this weekend, even into qualifying. I don't want to say all of the gap today was simply that. I certainly don't feel like I was on top form and got everything out of it, and I made a couple of mistakes on my final lap. As it did, it seemed like everyone made or went a little bit slower, bar a couple. So yeah, I think I did a good job. Like, I'm happy with P5. Was very close to Charles, and it was a small gap, so you know it hurts a little bit more knowing the gap was that small. But otherwise, I feel like I did a good job. Could have been better, yes. It also could have been a lot worse, you know. So I'll take it on the chin, and then I'll prepare the best I can for tomorrow.
It did look yesterday as though you'd closed the gap a little bit to Ferrari, and you'd found some performance with some solutions. Do you feel the same way today or not?
I mean, we did yesterday. It's always hard to know how much other people, you know, when they turn up the engine and that kind of thing. So we certainly felt better yesterday. This morning then felt quite a bit worse, and we were a bit confused as why we seemed quite a long way off. But then we seem to take a step forward again into quali now. So it just seems a bit up and down for whatever reason. So it's just sensitive. I think the cars are sensitive to wind conditions, temperature, all those things, and also just you never know what other people are doing. So I think we're happy with the result as a team today.
Thank you.
Andrea, is it a measure of how much this is a better weekend for McLaren that you're actually mixing it with Ferrari in qualifying?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's some indications of progress from a performance and overall competitiveness point of view. I think this progress comes from the fact that we are getting a little bit more out of the chassis through the setup, but mostly we are getting more out of the power unit. We have always talked about how difficult with this new generation of power unit it is to exploit, but we are getting more familiar with it. We are collaborating better with our HPP engineers, and I think this is rewarded by cashing in some lap time. Having said that, it's positive that in qualifying we are there with Ferrari, but Mercedes is still one step ahead.
Okay, and between the drivers, good recovery from Lando, and Oscar's just looked on it all weekend, really.
Well, Oscar has driven very well throughout the weekend, and honestly, Oscar has been fast throughout the season so far. He just hasn't had the chance to show it, because in 2 races he was not able to take part. But I think Oscar is in really good shape, so hopefully tomorrow he will have the chance to show it. Lando, we have to say that as a team we kept him on the back foot because we had some delays in P1, some problems in P2. This morning in P3 we needed to change the battery once again. Doing his best to minimize the impact of this disruption. He's doing well, very happy with Lando and Oscar how they are driving. Hopefully, like I say, tomorrow we will be able to have a normal race and cash in some points.
Well, some points. Podium, can you stay ahead of Ferrari?
I think Ferrari have shown that they gained some relative pace in the race, so I would be positively surprised that we are in condition to compete with Ferrari for podiums. We have seen progress this weekend, so definitely we will be there. It's also racing, anything can happen. We will try and have a go at podium, of course, but we know that we have to improve the car, and above all we have to bring some upgrades. That's the plan for the following race, and then we can be more steadily fighting for a podium and hopefully later on in the season for the victory.
Okay, thank you very much, Andrea. Thank you.
Andrea doing very well to manage expectations though, but it speaks volumes for their season so far that all he's longing for is a normal race.
Yeah.
I mean, tells you everything, doesn't it?
Yeah, let's get 2 cars to the finish, get loads of data and see where we go from there. So, no, I think that's not a bad qualifying effort, especially from Oscar. You know, he says he's a chunk away from Mercedes, but it's just over 3/10. It's not that bad, you know, and they've been on the back foot a lot this year. So, yes, I look forward to them both starting the race tomorrow and finishing the race tomorrow.
Hear, hear. Lando Norris, that's his best qualifying of the year, and in P5, and Oscar Piastri's P3 is the team's best qualifying of the year. So I'm sure you echo Jensen's sentiment of just getting to that checkered flag, or at least starting the race.
Yeah, I do totally echo that. I would argue that the driver-engineer split, I would say 4/10. He says 3/10, if that's okay. That's okay. 0.394 probably.
Got a 3 in front of it.
Classic driver versus engineer chat.
As soon as he said it, I was like, here we go.
Here we go.
Yeah, you know, I think McLaren they've moved their qualifying performance on. That is clear. A lot of that, as Andrea said there, is the deployment, working with Mercedes to get the best out of that engine. They were a little bit, as a customer team, on the back foot with that. That step is there. Now the next step is that reliability, you know, getting that car through the entire race, getting both cars through the entire race tomorrow, because their race pace has actually, you know, not been too bad when we look at Shanghai, or we look at Melbourne, sorry, for Norris. So they've got to be confident. They've just got to, like you say, got to get the data.
Absolutely. Okay, well, the man of the moment is Kimi Antonelli. Welcome back to Suzuka, where Kimi Antonelli has put it on pole. But let's hear from the man that he replaced at Mercedes, 4-time winner here, Lewis Hamilton.
Lewis, from the data we saw, it looked like you were faster in the corners than Charles, but slower on the straights. Is this an element of this year's racing that every driver sort of has to adapt to, or how are you feeling in the car, do you feel?
I'm generally feeling, I was feeling pretty decent. I mean, it's just we're not very quick. I mean, compared to the guys, the Mercedes and a little bit the McLaren. Yeah, my first lap I was up, and then I lost 2.5 tenths just on the straights, just from I had a snap, and then it changed the deployment, and then that was it. So, and at the point I was up, so I probably if we didn't have that problem, I probably would have finished. I probably would have had fourth. But other than that, it's just the way this deployment situation is.
From the races you've done so far, what have you learned that you can take into tomorrow's race to turn that P6 into a podium or better?
I don't know whether or not we can turn it into a podium, but I mean, our race pace has been pretty decent. It looks like McLaren have taken a step forward. Naturally, they've got the Mercedes engine, which is a long way ahead of us at the moment. And we've got a huge amount of work to do. To be 8/10 off or 7/10, whatever it is, even if you bring an upgrade of a couple of tenths, 3/10, 4/10, is still a long way off. So to close that gap is going to take a mighty push from everybody.
Oh, a tiny moment in qualifying at the moment seems to really cost drivers. You're not able to recover from it. Can you tell me why qualifying is so frustrating for you right now and what you're dealing with?
It's very frustrating because coming Q3, at least myself, and that's how I approach qualifying since forever, you go into that last lap and you try things that are a little bit above whatever you've tried before. And when you do that, the system needs to re-optimize everything while you are driving, basically. And so that, for some reason, whenever I get to Q3, I start losing time in the straight. So I make time in the corners, I lose time in the straight. And this is very frustrating because you never really put a lap together because you're always compromising one thing for another. And that's a little bit frustrating, but it's the way it is for everybody. I feel for some reason that we are a little bit more exposed to that compared to maybe the Mercedes engine, which is something that we need to look at. I also know that the FIA is obviously trying to understand what other things we can do to fix those issues going forward, because it's still something that everybody has. But yeah, apart from that, I was actually very happy with my lap. I've had a moment in turn 8, but actually this doesn't have any implications in whatever I've had later on. Like engine power unit wise, it didn't have any influence.
Do you feel then that your driving skill and your talents are being limited somewhat then at the moment?
I mean, I feel like this would be quite arrogant to say it like that, but surely I think for everybody, like going into Q3 is just not the nicest feeling, because we want to be at the limit of those cars, and whenever you play with those limits, not only you pay the price of a small snap, but you also pay triple the price in the straight. And this is very frustrating because qualifying, it's all about us trying to find the limit and to play with the limit. And at the moment, whenever you play with the limit, you get destroyed in the straight. So you've got to stay right underneath it, which is an art in itself. And I mean, all the good drivers need to make the difference anyway. But I think it's less rewarding for the drivers that like to really push over it, and most of the time in Q3 that's paying off, but not with these cars.
Thanks, Charles. Thank you.
When you consider Ferrari's great starts and incredible racing, do you expect qualifying to be a distant bad memory for them come tomorrow?
Well, if he gets in the lead, yes. But if he's not able to, they're very good at starts, but it's a lot of cars he needs to pass into turn 1. It's also not a very wide track either. So yeah, they're still going to look back and be frustrated by what happens in qualifying, and some areas that they need to fine-tune. It seems it's Ferrari that has the bigger issue than possibly other OEMs. So yeah, that's an area they're going to get frustrated about, especially the drivers, because that's the area that I think Charles has such skill in, that putting the car on the limit or slightly over the limit and getting the maximum out of it, but he's not benefiting from driving in that way.
That must be incredibly frustrating. They're sort of 6-7 tenths down to the leaders, lamenting their lack of power relative to Mercedes. How quickly can you turn something like that around? He's talking about getting help from the FIA and in levelling things up.
Yeah, you know,
what kind of timeline are we talking?
Well, it's so dependent on what is exactly the issue within either the power unit or the battery or how it deploys, or there's so many things it could be, and I don't think we're just quite clear on what that is. Oh, hello.
Hello, sorry, didn't mean to surprise you.
That's okay. I could see Natalie laughing at someone. I was like, what's going on behind me? But
she was in full flow. She was having a moment. Did you finish your point?
No, it's fine. We can move on. Let's move on.
I liked it. I mean, I liked it.
Fine.
You're a very polite young man. You probably let her finish.
Sorry,
her
yeah, you can
sentence.
finish. I don't mean to interrupt your conversation, guys.
He's got nothing else to do.
You're much more
He's
important
fine.
than I am.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Fantastic stuff. I mean, we heard it on team radio. You've done exceptionally well today. Just tell us how it felt out there.
It was a lot of fun. I mean, to be honest, it's not been an easy week so far. I missed all of P2. I missed a good chunk of P3 as well with some issues. So I had reasonably low expectations coming into the session. You know, we were even just talking about getting out of Q1. But I mean, yeah, I'm super happy, super grateful to the team for the job they've done to help give me a car that I had confidence in. You know, it's not an easy track to come to as a rookie, especially when you miss mileage. I mean, it's a confidence track, you know, so to be able to miss a lot of laps and still get straight up to the limit is a big part, you know, thanks to them. But then I'm also going to be honest, I'm very proud of myself. I think the job I did in Q2 was pretty impressive. And yeah, I had a lot of fun on that lap. I knew after run 1 that if I did a perfect job, I might be able to just squeeze through. So I told myself I'm just going to switch off the brain, hope for the best and send it, you know, and I think it was such an exhilarating feeling as well, just on a track like this, when you're just at one with the car. It was, you'll know yourself, it's so much fun.
Yeah.
Don't make him jealous.
Exactly. Well, congratulations. Nice work. And you're right, for a rookie, this track is really difficult, especially turn 2 up to turn 7. You don't breathe. It's difficult to even think at that moment. How was it for you through there? Can you let us know how it feels? And
yeah, I mean, it felt good. I mean, I haven't done that much driving, so my sort of reference, I mean, FP1, obviously the grip was low. It was sort of sliding around a lot on both axles. Then FP3 was a bit better. But now in quali, it was, you know, the thing was pretty pinned. And I don't know, you're so on the limit, it's always moving a bit, but you kind of just switch off the brain and send it. And yeah, it's hard to describe. I mean, sort of many moments through that section, but yeah, you kind of just have some fun.
I was just going to ask, we've been talking a lot, particularly in response to Charles Leclerc's comments, which you won't have heard, saying that the progression through qualifying, it's hard to track from Q1 to Q3 with the track improvement, with you pushing a little bit more. You're obviously learning a lot, having missed the session. Just talk us through that process in the car from your first run in Q1 to the final run in Q3. How are you deciding where you're going a little bit deeper into a corner or a little bit more aggressive?
So, I mean, obviously on lap 1, run 1, you just kind of, you make a baseline. Obviously, you don't want to, you need to get on it, so you sort of do your first lap, try to be on the limit, and then you make a step you push a bit more on lap 2, hope that's enough to get into Q2. And then for me, it was kind of really just trying to put a really solid banker on the board in run 1 of Q2, and then run 2 of Q2 was just send it and, you know, hope for the best, see what's left. I mean, obviously Charles in a bit of a different position. He's got a car that's a bit easier to get into Q3, but I mean, yeah, I was trying to build up and then just sending it with everything I had on Q2. I think I could have done a bit of a better job in Q3, to be honest. I don't think I nailed that. Sorry.
No,
but
I mean, you're being tough on yourself.
I got a bit too happy, I think, but I needed to stay a bit more focused. But I mean, in the end, it's my third race. There's a lot you learn with these sort of things. So I was just happy to get into Q3 because I'm not sure we entirely belong there.
And did you plan on being that wide from the apex?
I mean, because of the banking here, it doesn't really matter if you miss the apex. I think I was a little bit too wide, but I gained a lot on braking. Traction was super straight, so I don't think I really lost too much.
And where was this better than your Q3 lap?
To be honest, I was basically matching until out of here.
Okay.
So here, full commitment. Everyone's been having moments there, so it's not easy here. A bit of understeer, but then just flooring it on the exit, using all the track. And then I did a good job with the energy this lap. I was quite efficient, so I was seeing on my delta, I was gaining all the way to.
And why was that? How did you do that?
It's
try and explain to the fans at home when you say you're being efficient. What does that actually mean?
It's a big part of these current cars, trying to drive in, trying to go as fast as you can, but not being too much on the throttle, you know. So almost braking a fraction earlier, rolling a bit more speed, going slightly later, but almost the same lap time.
Right.
And that was something I didn't do quite as well in Q3. But then here if we just go back a bit.
Yep.
All the way. If we just go back to like 130R.
Sure.
So I've come out of 14.
You can come back anytime.
Yeah.
You're
Sorry, I know it's been going so quick. I mean, I come out of 14 and I'm like half a second up on the dash. We just paused it.
Oh wow.
So I'm like half a second up on the dash, and I remember I was so happy in the moment. I was like, this, you know, the lap was amazing to that point. So I remember even like screamed a bit inside the helmet, like, come on.
Did you?
Yeah. So at this point, I'm coming into it, and I'm just like, right, just don't mess it up, you know, just keep it together. So I'm coming in, I'm just trying to do a clean job. Yeah. Brake nice and late, because so much lap time here in braking. The curb's really difficult, but I just got it nicely. Rotated well, hopped a bit, but it was okay. Changed direction, nicely on the curb, and I'm already on the gas, driving on the way out.
Yeah.
And it was just really nice chicane, shortest distance to the line. Yeah, it's a pretty good lap.
I mean, after all the problems in free practice, it's super impressive to see you in the top 10. You must be really happy.
I'm really happy. It's been a very difficult week. I mean, I missed all of P2. I missed a good chunk of P3 as well with issues. So it's, I had pretty low expectations coming into the session. I just wanted to try to nail my bit, but the team did a really good job to give me a car I had confidence in. You know, that's a big part of this track, especially as a rookie, to have confidence. But then I'm also going to be honest, I think I did a mega job myself to put the car into Q3. It's yeah, we're right on the edge on. So yeah, I think I really got everything out of it, and very happy to be starting the top 10 tomorrow.
Super job. I'll let you get to the debrief. Your team's waving at me over there. Well done, mate.
Thank you.
See you later. I'll grab that. Nats, back to you.
Mega job on his lap, mega job at the Skypad too. We can have him back every time. He's unbelievable. Teenager takeover.
Chatty, isn't he?
Yeah.
There's a bit of adrenaline there, I think.
I know. I love the way he told Karun, you can go back. Come back.
That is nice. It's nice to see someone controlling Karun on the Skypad, isn't it?
He's normally bossy to us, isn't he? Great stuff. Well, from one young, sensational star to another. It's
Ollie, that was tough. Just tell us, were you expecting to be out in this session, and what do you think it was down to?
No, not at all. We encountered a bit of a problem with the software or with the power unit in general in the first run, and just didn't have any enough straight line speed. Second run, I don't know if it was fixed or not, but I just wasn't really able to find much lap time out there, and yeah, it was a shame. It's really tight margins, and of course when the first run was pretty much wasted because of the issue we had. I just didn't make the step on the second one, it looks like.
What can you expect from the race tomorrow then? I mean, we've talked about the opportunities to overtake with these new regulations. Do you see opportunities tomorrow?
Yeah, certainly. I think I'm still very optimistic. I think if it was 12 months ago, it would be much less, but you know, there's still going to be plenty of opportunities tomorrow. Lots of overtaking, safety car risk as well, so looking forward to seeing what we can do.
All right, thanks.
Well, he's hopeful of overtaking. It's a shame, isn't it, Karim, because he really has been building momentum throughout this season. How tough will it be for him tomorrow to make those passes?
Well, we've talked a lot about the Ferrari start, but he's got the same engine, so I think there's, you know, he's obviously starting 18th, but I would expect him to make some good gains off the line and in that you know, first part of the opening lap. So then we'll see, right, where it settles down. We've seen him be a good racer. We even saw in China, he got caught up in that lap one thing with Hajar and recovered well. So we'll see if he can recover.
And there definitely seems to have been a bit of a shift in his mentality. He was making a few mistakes at the first part of his rookie year. He seems to have ironed those out, and even just the way he talks, don't you feel like he's a bit different? He's matured.
He has matured into the role. I think he's a lot more consistent. He's still very, very young, as we pointed out before qualifying. But yeah, I think he could get a lot out of that car tomorrow. I think what we're seeing in the two races we've had so far this season is that it is possible to get past cars. There's quite a split sometimes in the pace of cars, so the overtakes are there. He'll feel like he can at least close up to where his teammate is, if not go further than that, and that's what he'll be aiming to try and achieve.
Okay, well, at the opposite end of the grid, it is Mercedes who've got a front row lockout. Their first here in Suzuka since 2018. Let's hear from their drivers.
Hi, George. You said on the radio we couldn't lose this much pace. Did you find any of it back, did you feel, by the end of that session? And do you know what that's down to?
Well, we made an adjustment on the rear of the car in qualifying, but it was like tiny. It was meant to be transparent. And I went out and it was so bad it felt like something was broken on the rear. It didn't improve. I just had to adjust my driving style a lot. I had to remove a huge amount of front wing to compensate. It was almost like I was spinning off on the entries of the corner, and the last corner I couldn't get round. I was almost spinning in this corner, and yeah, really annoying. Don't know what happened.
Did they tell you it was a performance thing, or was there something broken? Why did you change something?
No, it was the reason we changed is it was just balancing the car out. I don't want to get too much into details, but
okay.
it was only a very small change. Like it's something we've always done in the past. So either, we're still new to this car. Either it has a much bigger impact than we realise, or we did something wrong, or something's broken. And unfortunately, we're a little bit handcuffed now. It's 2 weekends in a row we've had. China, we were obviously quick throughout and just got unlucky in Q3. Here was odd.
But a bad day being P2 is a pretty good day still. Tomorrow for the start, do you and Kimi just have to make yourselves as wide as possible to stop those Ferraris trying to come through, or can you still go for yourself and try and take the lead yourself, or what
I mean, we've made some improvements with the starts. Slightly easier at this track because there's higher grip compared to what we saw in Melbourne, so there shouldn't be as much difference between everyone, but we still see how volatile everything is there. So I'll see what I can do. Obviously I want to try and get into the lead, but it's a long race and plenty of opportunity.
Thank you. Thanks. Kimi, fantastic job again today. How does it feel to put it on pole around here?
It feels great. It's been good. It's good fun in the session. To be fair, the first two runs hasn't been the easiest because wind picked up quite a bit compared to FP3 and was a bit more snappy. The car rear end was not as planted, so also overheating was a little bit worse because of that. But overall was a good session. I'm happy with that. Lap 1 in Q3 was strong. Lap 2 I overdid a little bit because was a strong lap, but yeah, happy with it and looking forward to tomorrow.
So what could stop you from the win tomorrow? What would be the biggest concern? Is it the Ferraris coming through? Is it your teammate? What would be the one thing that you would think that could stop me tomorrow from winning?
I think can be my teammate, can be myself, to be fair. But I'm not gonna worry too much about it. I'm just gonna focus on what I have to do, trying to get the procedure right, good start without overdoing it, and then trying to, hopefully we'll be P1 into turn 1, and then we can make the best use of the free air and try to set the pace. But of course, I'm just gonna, try to work on what I have to do together with Bono and my other engineers, and in order to be as ready as possible for tomorrow.
Great job, well done.
Thank you.
Great performance from Kimi Antonelli. Kudos too to Pierre Gasly, P7, yet again eking out every last bit of performance from that Alpine. How impressed have you been with him today and indeed all season?
He's very, very good around the circuit because he's raced here in Super Formula. He's got good experience here. But in general, in qualifying, you'd have to say, even last season, right? He's genuinely one of the best qualifiers of the grid. I still go back to, it's such a shame when he had that Red Bull opportunity, it went badly for him, because he would be one of those drivers who was a strong contender for a top seat. But he's doing a great job. As you said, China, he did a great job, and here he's building on it. Hopefully more points for the team as well.
Gabby Bortoleto, I have a quick word on him. I mean, it looked at one point as if both Audis were going to get through to Q3, but ultimately it was Bortoleto who's put it P9 for tomorrow. Again, a really strong weekend for him. Are they going to feel like they missed out, though, with Hülkenberg?
Yeah, I think Hülkenberg will feel disappointed that he's not up there as well. I think it was very fine margins, to progress through at times. Bortoleto seemed, at one point I looked at a compare between him and Max Verstappen, and he was actually quicker through the S's than Max Verstappen, which says a lot about that car for Verstappen, really, and about Bortoleto and how much he's come on. So yeah, I think he'd be happy with that, and they'll be looking to score some more points tomorrow.
But had you P8, so it's not all about the car, is it? I don't know what really went wrong for Max today. What do you think?
He just didn't unhappy with the rear of the car. Clearly they've tried to make some changes. We saw the cars on the setup wheels. It's not worked. It's going to be a long afternoon trying to hang on to that tomorrow.
Okay, who is your name for the winner tomorrow?
Kimi. I'm going to say Kimi.
I have to agree.
Okay, well, let's see if George Russell can take the fight